Hey everybody! In today's tutorial, I will be just playing with alcohol inks and Dura-Lar and some rubbing alcohol for a project for Split Coast Stampers Holiday Fest challenges, which I invite you to check out at splitcoaststampers.com. These projects were really fun. So I have a couple of pieces of Dura-Lar here. This is a matte film that has a non-porous surface. It's similar to vellum, but it's smoother and it's made of different material. I really like Dura-Lar. The clear version you can actually store cling rubber stamps on. Now I've dropped a few drops of alcohol ink. The colors will be listed below the video. And what I'm doing is just sitting and letting them expand for a minute. When you play with alcohol ink, each color is a little bit different and it will spread out a different amount depending on the pigment in the ink. And so if you're just patient and you watch them come out and meet each other, then you'll know exactly how much ink to keep adding. Now, since it is a solvent, it will dry pretty quickly, even on this non-porous surface. That's what's great about alcohol ink. And as that happens, you'll see some hard edges form, which I think are really fun. You can get a variety of soft and hard edges when you're doing this. You'll also get blending of the colors, which you're starting to see with the magenta and the turquoise inks. But if you are just slow and careful, you can keep from getting a big pooled mess if you let them just expand how they want to and slow down just a little bit in adding the ink. Dropping a color on top of another color produces some fun effects. To me, this looks like cell biology. That's what I think of every time I play with alcohol ink. It looks like I'm looking at something underneath a microscope, but a really, really beautiful microscope with bright, vibrant colors. Now, this Dura-Lar is very easy to cut. It comes in big pads. I will link to it below the video and in my blog post. And you can see now that I'm starting to fill in the white spaces. I don't like to fill all the white spaces in, so I try to leave a little bit. That doesn't always happen when you're working with alcohol ink because you can see especially this yellow is a very speedy mover. It's sort of like in the video where I talked about the way different pigments move with Brusho in the online card classes intermediate watercolor class. So I invite you to check out that video because you'll just get used to how each unique pigment behaves in any medium. It doesn't have to be alcohol ink. So I'm putting a few final drops here and there. I love this wild, intense rainbow look that you get. And then for texture, you can add just rubbing alcohol. I have a spray bottle of rubbing alcohol on my desk at all times. You can do fun stuff with it. And you can create almost a little bokeh effect with just little droplets off the sprayer of your alcohol ink bottle. You get a completely different texture if you actually spray the print that you've made with the puddles of alcohol ink. And in my friend sample on this video, that's the texture that you see when you spray a piece that's already dried, which I'll show you in a minute. But these soft bubbles of very pale color when you drop the alcohol, just straight rubbing alcohol on there, I think are really beautiful and sort of dreamy. It can also help you if you see in that little corner where I've gotten a little muddy, I've gotten a little too much ink. It can push the ink away from that puddle and lighten it up just a bit. I don't mind if there are dark puddles of ink in one place or another here and there, but I don't want them all over the piece. Now, since the ink is still wet, you'll see that these bubbles sort of soften and fade pretty quickly. The longer the alcohol ink dries, the more discreet the shapes will be when you drop straight rubbing alcohol onto them. So even as I just sit and wait and watch, after I drop them, I can see some of them disappearing into the alcohol ink. You could just do this all day and it would be so pleasant and relaxing. But here's one that's already dried. And I want to do the same thing and show you what a totally different look you get. You get a harder edge to the little bubbles as it pushes away the dried alcohol ink. They stay more in a distinct shape, but the reaction happens just as fast. The second you drop that alcohol onto your dried ink, it starts to go to work. So this will have a completely different look from that dreamy look of the one on the right. Just something fun to play with. Now I have a dark spot over here I'm gonna try to fix. And it's just like magic when that alcohol sort of blooms into those areas, and then the totally different look that you get on the left. So the first one was the softer look. That's for this ornament. Same with the second one with the little houses. But then this texture I got by just using the actual sprayer on the alcohol bottle to get a little more finite texture. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching.